simple molecular structures, such as the packaging of DNA within the nucleus of the cell, the folding of proteins, and the rearrangement of phospholipids in the plasma membrane of the cell. This self-assembly is responsible for the generation and preservation of life. These aggregates are stabilized by weak interactions like hydrogen bonds, pp interactions of the aromatic rings of the molecules, and in many cases, they minimize the hydrophobic regions within the aqueous environment. But if we take some distance from the microenvironment of the cell, and we are interested in what happens with drugs which are not macromolecules, do they self-aggregate? And the answer is yes. It is known that many drugs undergo self-assembly, and this is a problem because these aggregates cause artifacts in the screening of new drugs, which lead to false positives. That is why a scientific group at the University of California developed an aggregator advisor library to predict in a range of concentrations if a molecule will aggregate or not. In many cases, these aggregated drugs cause promiscuous binding to other proteins or enzymes which are not the actual target of testing. And besides, this promiscuous binding was related to unwanted side effects or toxicity in many cases. So what about the therapeutic administration? It was reported in some works that when some drugs are administered in the aggregated form, the intestinal absorption, for example, decreased, or even in the case of drugs that have a therapeutic target at the nucleus of the cell, the internalization at the nucleus decreased when the drug is self-assembled. For all the mentioned before, I studied the self-assembly of Irinotecan with a spectrofluorimetric techniques in an aqueous environment solely in order to simulate the physiological conditions of administration. So this is the molecule of Irinotecan, which is an anti-tumoral drug used for the treatment of colon cancer and inhibits the DNA topoisomerase, which is responsible for the repair of DNA. So the presence of Irinotecan avoids the binding of the topoisomerase with DNA, and eventually the cells enter into apoptosis and die. So it was reported before that the drug self-aggregates in several conditions, such as the microenvironment, pH, or different concentration. And the concentration is a very important parameter to take into account in the administration of the drug. According to the commercial leaflet of this drug, the recommended therapeutic concentration ranges from 2.8 to 0.12 milligrams per milliliter, and the administration procedure is as follows. So, the commercial presentation of 20 milligrams per milliliter is diluted in a physiological solution followed by intravenous administration to the patient. So I mentioned it before that the aggregation of Irinotecan was studied with the spectrofluorimetric technique, taking advantage in one hand the intrinsic fluorescence emission of this molecule, and in the other hand, by making very few changes in the concentration, we can distinguish changes in the microenvironment of the molecule. So in this sense, this is a very sensitive technique and, of course, affordable. So for this purpose, the commercial stock solution was serial diluted, and the effect of increasing the concentrations in the fluorescence intensity of the emission was observed. As we can see, While the drug is serial diluted, the fluorescence intensity increases up to this point, which is around 1 micromolar. And then the fluorescence intensity began to decrease. A linear relationship is observed only at these low concentrations studied until 1 micromolar. So what is going on with this molecule at high concentrations? In order to study the effect of the concentration on the shift wavelength of the maxima emission, the wavelength at the maxima fluorescence emission was plotted against the different concentrations, and as we can see a relationship between the concentration and the shift of the wavelength shown with arrows. As we observe normalized intensity of these three different concentrations versus the wavelength, we can infer that something is happening in the rearrangement of the molecule as the concentration changes. Where the red line corresponds to the stock commercial solution, the black line here corresponds to a very low concentration, which we assume as the monomer, and the blue line is the concentration assigned to this inflection point I mentioned it before, where the fluorescence intensity starts to decrease when we observe the effect of the fluorescence intensity in the serial diluted drug. So, in this scenario, it is possible that the left side of this curve, where the fluorescence intensity is low at high concentrations of Irinotecan, the drug is self-aggregating like this. The quenching of the fluorescence emission occurs, and this is why the signal of the fluorescence intensity is low. As the serial dilutions take place, water molecules intercalate, and the molecular interactions responsible for the self-assembly are destabilized. In consequence, the aromatic rings are exposed to the microenvironment, and the emission of the fluorescence intensity increases until this point, which is around 1 micromolar. In this right side of the curve, fair amount of aggregates are already destabilized by the serial dilutions, so it is possible that the fluorescence signal comes from the monomer, which is in equilibrium with the surrounding aqueous environment. So at this point, perhaps there is a population of monomer plus remaining aggregates that coexist at the same time. So the spectrofluorimetric technique was useful to observe some changes not only in the emission scan but also in the excitation spectra of the molecule as the drug was serial diluted. So in this spectra, it is interesting to see that the excitation signal at 366 nanometers is missing here in this zoom area, is missing at high concentrations, and as the drug is serial diluted and the concentration decreases, the excitation signal appears. So this result might be explained by also the phenomena of self-aggregation of the drug at high concentrations, and this technique allows us to see these changes in the environment of the drug. So with the aim to explain what kind of quenching is taking place, if it's static or a dynamic quenching mechanism, the effect of the temperature represents positive. For this purpose, two concentrated and two diluted concentrations were studied at ambient temperature, as in this black line, and at 37 degrees Celsius, as in this red line. So we observe some significant differences in relative intensity at high concentrations, and we can conclude that a static mechanism may be responsible for the quenching of the fluorescence emission, because as the temperature increased a few degrees, the aggregates were stabilized and the fluorescence intensity increased, like in this red line. So if a dynamic quenching mechanism is taking place, when the temperature increases, the aggregates would start to collide between each other by the kinetic energy arise of the system. And the fluorescence intensity might decrease as well, might be quenching, which is not the case of these experimental results. So we can conclude that there is a static quenching mechanism that is taking place with Irinotecan self-aggregation. So the effect of the presence of bovine serum albumin, the disaggregation of the self-assembled drug, was studied because albumin is the most important soluble protein in the bloodstream of mammals and is responsible for the transport of many molecules, such as ligands that bind to the receptors. It is important to study the binding of drugs to albumin because a high affinity to albumin ensures a high drug biodistribution. So in this sense, when we compare the fluorescence intensity of pure Irinotecan, which is this black column, and the presence of albumin, which is this gray column, we observe an increase in the fluorescence intensity of Irinotecan. And when we study the effect of the concentration on the shift wavelength between concentrations, like for example, the delta between this and this, and the delta between this and this, with and without albumin, we can infer that at the edges of concentration, like high concentration, very diluted concentration, the delta of the wavelength decreased in the presence of bovine albumin. So perhaps after several serial dilutions of Irinotecan, albumin molecules, as well as water molecules, intercalate, influencing the self-assembly of Irinotecan. So finally, the aggregates were characterized by electronic microscopic sample with X-ray dispersion spectrometry of high concentrations sample of Irinotecan. And we can see that some colloidal shapes of size distribution around 5 and 7 micrometers were observed. So the sample was prepared by pouring a drop of high concentration of Irinotecan in the cup, and then air dried for 2 hours. So no solvents were used for the dehydration of the sample. And in order to see the composition, this colloidal morphologies, the X-ray dispersion spectrometry distribution of the elements, like here in the zone where they are the aggregates, show the presence of nitrogen, which is very characteristic of the Irinotecan. So, study the morphology of the aggregates. Confocal microscopy images show crystal structures of around 5 micrometers the stock solution, which is this A panel of Irinotecan. And this zoom area shows a close-up of this region, highlighting the well-defined external shape of the crystals and referred to as bladed crystal. Figure C corresponds to 0.15 micromolar of Irinotecan serial dilution, which is the low concentration of Irinotecan, where fewer crystals are observed compared to the stock solution. So these results agree with the assumption that serial dilution destabilize the self-assembled molecules of Irinotecan, and that at low concentrations, perhaps the monomer coexists with some remaining aggregates. If And so the size of the crystal is around 5 micrometers in agreement with electron microscopic size distribution. So in conclusion, we can infer that these observations should be taken into account when quantifying drugs that have a tendency to self-aggregate like irinotecan, because a mask concentration and not the actual concentration might lead to misleading results. And about the administered concentration might be susceptible to other biological phenomena if it is administered as self-aggregate in a myeloid cell, which might cause the disaggregation of the crystal. So in this sense, this change in the concentration. And of course, cell toxicity experiments should be performed to study the effect of the internalization into the cell of this self-aggregated concentration, therapeutic concentration, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus of the cell. Thank you very much.